So, welcome to a little Rachmaninoff tutorial. Well, not tutorial, but sort of talk in a way. So here we got the third concerto, which is undoubtedly, well, it's pretty much considered his greatest work. Okay, so now I've been through a little bit of this work with the help of a very good teacher, whose name I won't mention, but yeah, she taught me what were the I could never quite do this. I managed to make my way through it. This is the alternative cadenza from the first movement, and then I tried the third movement, the last bit of that, which is on page 78 of this 78? Yeah, of this edition, which is the Bosnian Hawks one. So it's just near the end there. Page 77 and 78, yeah. So just some thoughts on this very beautiful. It's more beautiful than the second concerto. More notes than any concerto for piano, I'm told, except maybe some of the modern ones which are not played anyway. But yeah, amongst the classical repertoire. Okay, so it's got the most notes, and Rachmaninoff actually himself said it was a bit easier to play than the second concerto. I think that's regarding the hand shapes and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. The second concerto is so beautiful as well. I've heard different things about the second concerto, such as that it was the third movement that was composed first, but then I've also heard it was the second movement which was composed first, so I'm not sure what it was. But it wasn't the first movement of that concerto with that wonderful opening of the big octaves. I think there are 8 of those octaves, if I'm not mistaken, at the beginning of that second. But this has got this beautiful opening, which is then taken over by the. It begins with the orchestra, doesn't it? And then it's the piano brings the melody, and very distinctive melody, and then the orchestra takes that over. What can I say about this wonderful work? The finale is the best movement. I would say, undoubtedly. I would say that the cadenza which Rachmaninoff played is actually superior to the alternative cadenza, the Ossia cadenza, which I tried to learn with the heavy block chords. It's not as it's actually, in my opinion, not as good. I think Rachmaninoff himself said that it wasn't good to end a concerto before its real ending happened. But I do prefer the cadenza which he himself played, and Horowitz played just that one. I think it's much more mercurial, and they do actually end in the same way, that cadenza, but the first half of it, or the majority of it, is different. What do I want to say about this? Well, what's the most difficult bit? I actually had a conversation with Lugansky, the great Russian pianist, and he said that the most difficult part of the whole concerto was the cadenza. So that was him, and from memory he was doing that Ossia cadenza. I think I might say yeah, because I met him after the concert, and he was doing that third concerto in London. But I may be mistaken, and I may not be remembering correctly what he said, but I think so. Yeah, it's more beautiful than the second concerto. Generally, it's generally considered a bit more beautiful. I think it was composed in 1909. Yes, actually, a derogatory thing that I can say about the concerto. It was written by Max Harrison in his excellent book called Rachmaninoff, his works and recordings, I think it is, which I was given by my teacher as a present. That book says that Max Harrison doesn't like the way it ends. He thinks that it's too similar to the second concerto, and he calls it a mad dash to the end. And there is a bit of truth in that, if you compare it to the fourth concerto, anyway, and the Paganini Rhapsody, the way that ends. The coda to that ends in a similar way. They're both quite similar to Tchaikovsky's first concerto. The way that one ends, it's also another mad rush to the ending. But then that Paganini Rhapsody ends with a very humorous little, surprising sort of lovely twist at the end. But it is true that actually the second and third concerto do end in fairly similar ways. But, you know, there we go. It's actually quite a good point, I suppose. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about, sorry about this video, was for saying what I was taught about that ossia cadenza, and all I want to, because I've forgotten it all now and I can't sight read it. In fact, I gave it to one of my excellent teachers to sight read, and even she couldn't sight read it. So, but the teacher who taught me this did sight read it, but I presume that she had been practicing it beforehand, before the lesson. She is a concert pianist, but even so, I just can't imagine that people could read this, especially the ossia cadenza, which is written in smaller print. But she says that the bit which is the most difficult, she says the bass is not too difficult, and the bit that is the most difficult, she said, was the bit where I can't even see what it is now, but it's the bit which is just such a tangle of notes. It's where there's like kind of syncopation, yeah, between the left and the right hand. It's a kind of syncopation sort of thing. It's only a few measures long, but otherwise it's not so difficult. I think Marta Agarich said that it's not as difficult as the cadenza which Rachmaninoff himself played, would only play in concerts. But like the teacher who taught me this, the concert pianist, said, she said, of course, Rachmaninoff himself would have played the ossia cadenza anyway, because he wrote it, so he would have also have played it, but not in concert. Anyway, apparently it is more difficult. Not the ossia cadenza, the other cadenza, the one that Rachmaninoff only played in concert, and Horowitz, I think, only played in concert. So there we go. Any more thoughts about that cadenza? There are other cadenzas, obviously, in the work. My favourite cadenza is would have to be the Tchaikovsky First Concerto cadenza. Well, thank you very much. Hope that's helped you in your playing of this piece, this cadenza. Bye bye, and I hope to see you next time.